Welcome back, everybody, to the Right Way Sports Network YouTube channel. I'm your host, Daniel Alameda, here with my guy, as always. We got Andrew Little, and you guys may be saying, what the hell are you guys doing on this show? We're going to give you the 10 best fantasy matchups for week number 6. And before we get into this, like this video, subscribe for more, and also comment down below. Every single week, Andrew and I and the rest of the team are responding to your comments. And also, if you want to get in on the action, download the app Underdog Fantasy and use our code TWSN Fantasy. Win yourself some money. So Andrew, 10 best players for this week. You've got 5. I've got 5. Who's number 1?
Number 1 for me this week, Calvin Ridley. We're going to go a little bit back to week 1. Jaguars versus the Colts again. Ridley went crazy. 11 targets, 8 catches, 101 yards and a touchdown. We all got excited thinking maybe he's going to be a top 10 receiver this year. It's fallen off a little bit. Had a bounce back last week in London. I think he has another great week. I think he finishes about a top 15 receiver this week. So another good week coming for Calvin Ridley.
Bro, people have finally got onto the Calvin Ridley train, but it was going to take some time for, Trevor and him to get on the same page. Let me just tell you guys, newsflash, they're on the same page. They are an amazing duo. Matt Stafford, number 2. He is going to have the best quarterback week out of any single
My favorite
quarterback.
matchup
And
of
let
the
me
week,
tell you why.
Matthew Stafford.
You look at
The
his
man's gonna
matchup
have a
first
career
off
game
against the Arizona
Cardinals, and let me
Cardinals.
tell you
Their
why. He's at
defense is not
300+
good. They have the
passing yards
second
in
worst
3 of 5
pass
games
rush
so
in the
far this
entire
year.
NFL.
Last
Last
week,
week,
they
Joe
faced
Burrow
the
just
Eagles,
torched
the
him for
elite
300-something
pass
yards.
rush, and they just
And
gave up
when you look at the
330
Rams
yards
side
to
of the ball,
Joe Burrow.
you can look
So I
at
look at Matt
Stafford's
Stafford
final
with
stats
Puka
last
Nacua,
week and
Cooper
say, he
Kupp,
threw for
Tyler
222
Higbee,
yards.
Tutu
The man
Atwell.
sucked.
He's got all the weapons.
Let's actually
I'm
put that into
expecting
perspective. The
330
first half, he had
yards,
170,
3
and
passing
what happened? The Eagles took control of the game. Andrew, the Rams only had 20 minutes of time, in the rest of the game. The Eagles had 40 minutes. That's not going to happen this week. He's got Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee, Tutu Atwell, Puka Nacua. The man is going to have 300+ yards, 2 touchdowns. Mark it down, Matt Stafford, huge week.
Love it. We're in Cincinnati. We saw last week what Jamar and Joe Burrow did against that Cardinals defense, and Stafford has all the weapons to have a blow-up week. Then my number 2 guy, Raheem Mostert, going against the Carolina Panthers. And the Dolphins running back going to have a little bit of a change-up this week. Devon Achane, unfortunately, going on the injured reserve. Jeff Wilson, he's returning from the injured reserve. So I think Raheem Mostert's the lead back this week, going against a Carolina defense that's really, really been struggling. They're giving up the second most fantasy points to running backs in the entire league. I think the Dolphins lean on the run game early. Raheem Mostert breaks out some big plays, and he goes off.
So I love that. I'm not going to disrespect Devon Achane, but let me just tell you guys, any running back in the system, it works. Elijah Mitchell with the 49ers, Raheem Mostert with the 49ers, now with the Dolphins. The speed back, it works. So who's the running back 1? Raheem Mostert. Andrew, I'm hammering him this week. My number 2, the number 4 for here. Give me Josh Downs. Give me Josh Downs for the Colts. I love him this week. You got a great matchup against the Jaguars secondary, albeit they're not very good. They're young, inexperienced. Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, both had 100 yards against them last week. And when you look at the Colts, you've got Michael Pittman Jr. getting 10+ targets. But I went back and rewatched the film. This dude, Josh Downs, is ridiculous. I'm telling you guys, whether it's quick slants, whether it's drag routes, me personally, if I want somebody on fantasy or to bet on, I'm taking a guy who's going to get targets. And with Gardner Minshew, he's seeing a 27% target share. So I look at who's going to get the opportunity. He's going to get the targets. His new quarterback, Gardner Minshew, isn't going to be launching the ball deep. So expect 8 to 10 targets. And I think he goes 65 yards and a tutty this week. Josh Downs, hammer him against the Jags.
Yeah, he's been a great surprise for a rookie, and he has yet to find the end zone. And you're predicting he finds it this week. I love that one. And I'll stick with another receiver that hasn't found the end zone yet, Michael Thomas. He's been really, really consistent this year. I was looking through the stats of the receivers when I was prepping for this video, and I was shocked to see Michael Thomas, how strong he's been. He scored 10 points, at least in PPR, in every game except for one. He's got 37 targets this year. The matchup with Houston, it's nothing special. It doesn't necessarily get me excited. Michael Thomas has given such a high floor these past few weeks. I think he continues that again, and maybe he finds the end zone, scores a touchdown, and has a big week.
I absolutely love Michael Thomas. I've got him on some of my teams, and he's the definition of consistency. So I love that. I didn't have enough time to write on the whiteboard, but give me Jordan Addison for the Minnesota Vikings. This dude is going to step up in place of Justin Jefferson. I promise you guys. He's got a great matchup this week against the Chicago Bears. Their defense, respectfully, it blows. It sucks. Sam Howell threw for 300-something yards against them last week. And Who's going to get the targets? TJ Hawkinson's probably going to get 10 plus targets, but Jordan Addison, they drafted him for a reason. He's got 3 touchdowns so far this year in only 5 games. Kirk Cousins and him and have a great rapport, and he's seeing both intermediate, deep passes, and also the short route. So Jordan Addison, the man's going to see 10 plus targets. The Bears defense sucks. Expect him to have a big game this week. I know some people are talking about the weather. It might be, windy, but he got 9 targets, 8, 5, 6. He's going to have 80 plus yards and a touchdown market.
And my next guy is going to be Dak Prescott. Had a really bad week last week. Granted, it was against the best defense, one of the best defenses of football, the San Francisco 49ers. Right now, he's outside the top 20 in fantasy quarterbacks, which we do not expect to hold up for the rest of the year. Going against the Chargers, it could be a shootout. Chargers bottom 5 passing defense. I think this is a great bounce back opportunity for Dak. It's also a strong matchup for guys like CeeDee Lamb and those Cowboys playmakers. I think Prescott and the Cowboys offense get things back on track in what should be a pretty fun matchup against the Chargers.
Respectfully, this Chargers defense sucks. Yeah. They suck. They've got a decent passers. They've got a lot of talent, but this is the matchup. If you're the Cowboys, especially Cowboys fans, this is the matchup you're going to exploit. My next guy, give me Logan Thomas. This is one where a lot of people are kind of iffy on him. He had a huge last week, 70-something yards on 11 targets. But this is more about the matchup. The Atlanta Falcons suck against tight ends. I'm telling you, I rewatched their film. They are absolutely horrendous against tight ends. It's their linebackers. They've got a good front 7, but I'm telling you, Sam Laporta, 84 yards on 11 targets. Dalton Schultz, 65 yards on 10 targets. Evan Ingram, 59 yards on 7 targets. Hayden Hurst, 41 yards on 7 targets. If Logan Thomas continues to be a fixture in the Commanders offense, we are going to see a massive game out of Logan, man. I don't know. I just love him this week. The matchup's great. Their linebackers suck in coverage. Logan Thomas, hammer him this week.
Yeah, and Logan Thomas, I wrote about him in my weekly waiver wire guide. He was my tight end suggestion. Love the matchup against Atlanta. Like you said, they're really struggling against tight ends. And then my tight end this week, it's Hunter Henry going against the Raiders. And I didn't realize this until about 5 minutes ago, but this is my 3rd straight week of picking a tight end against the Raiders. I promise that's not totally intentional. They are bottom half against tight ends, so it's a good matchup, but it's really more about what Hunter Henry does in this Patriots offense that's been abysmal so far. Mac Jones has been benched twice. Hunter Henry's been the most consistent guy they have in the passing game. Last week, although, no catches for the first time. First 2 weeks, he had a touchdown. He had 5 or more targets in every week until week 5. I think this week they head back to him, try to get things going through Hunter Henry, through the short to intermediate game, and then maybe they take some shots downfield. Mac Jones really needs to get his confidence back, and Hunter Henry's the guy that can do it.
So I love the Hunter Henry thing. I think, once again, one of my big things, Andrew, we should get this on a shirt, is buy the dip. Buy the dip, guys. When players are doing bad, that's when you've got to buy the dip. We did that with Breece Hall last week. I'm going to stick with the same game. I'm going to put everything on the table, Andrew. Give me Kendrick Bourne. Give me Kendrick Bourne. And this is one where I've watched this dude. I grew up a Patriots fan. I watched, the Patriots and how they utilize wide receivers. Kendrick Bourne is their deep threat guy right now. Devontae Parker's a one-on-one specialist. He's not going to be doing any intermediate routes. So give me Kendrick Bourne. When you look at the Raiders defense, they play a ton of man-to-man coverage, but what have they been giving up? They've been giving up a ton of deep passes. We saw Christian Watson beat them deep. We saw Calvin Austin beat them deep. We saw George Pickens beat them deep, right? I think even Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis beat them deep when they played. So look at how this matchup is, prepped up for Kendrick Bourne. It's prepped up to be the explosion that the Patriots need. So I'm going to put everything on the table. Give me Kendrick Bourne, 70 plus yards, 1 touchdown, and he's going to have 1 reception of 25 plus yards. I love Kendrick this week, man. So Andrew, I think we ran through them all, man. If you guys like more content like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also reach out to us on X or Twitter, whatever you call it, because me and Andrew and the rest of the TWSN team, we're interacting with you guys all day long. So drop a comment down below if you agree or disagree. If you want to get on the action, download the Underdog Fantasy app, code TWSN Fantasy, get 100% deposit match. But man, Andrew and I, we are out.